Friendly greetings, Torley here. I want to take a moment away from the keyboard, for a little bit anyway, and talk to you, webcams are magic, about guilty pleasures. Now, the term is often used in relation to music. Someone likes an 80s hair band, and they, with some hesitation, say, I like that song, but it's a guilty pleasure. Now, I'm reading a web page where one person's very good, Dan Forth's interpretation of what a guilty pleasure is. They say it's something that you enjoy that you think you shouldn't enjoy, either for personal reasons or because of the possibility of others' reactions, as in other people. Well, with other people, I think to care so much is dumbass. It really is, because then everyone, it's sort of like the dominoes fall. Your taste will bend to someone else, they'll bend to someone else, and we lose that unique flavor. Also, for practical reasons, because there is often nothing that pragmatically separates a piece of music that you love, which is very highbrow and cultured, versus something that people consider lowbrow. It's ridiculous. And I understand, yes, there are qualities of music. There are many different kinds. But I think to really get at the core of music, if I may get closer, we need to strip away all these extraneous levels of slop. This is what has been killing classical music slowly. Some classical performers, they train for years and years, and they're brilliant musicians, but they are absolutely stupid because they cannot relate well to styles of other music. And this makes them very isolationist. This makes them often very snobbish and cruel, because they're like, oh, those long hairs in that rock band, they're earning so much more money than me. And these are gripes I've heard. I've seen them on the internet. I've had acquaintances, ex-friends who I'm no longer in contact with. And you have to understand, in today's music market, your efforts are not necessarily going to be tied to material compensation. If you want money, there are certain allowances you need to make. And people will bring in complications like, oh, selling out and all that. But really, again, the slop. Chop the slop, and let's look at what's essential. And what's really essential is, when you're making music, when you're making art, when you're being creative, do you really like what you're doing? Is it something that is an honest reaction? And so when you listen to a piece of music and may be totally cheesy, again, that's a useless word. No one has a real definition of what that means. Cheesy, corny, or sappy. They're all kind of foodie adjectives, and I don't like them at all because they're useless. They carry no function from a very logical standpoint. And if you have an honest relationship with that music and you're like, wow, that's a catchy tune. Hey, you remember it. It's a memorable, nice work of music. There is absolutely nothing, 0%, or an imaginary number that doesn't exist, because one cannot imagine what sense that would have. There is no guilty pleasure there. It's all right to use it as a fun, just little word, but the problem is it's bandied around as too much of a preemptive apology, where no apology, absolutely none, needs to be made. You don't need to apologize for your tastes. If you're being honest about what you like in music, if you like the music not because other people tell you to, now that is problematic, but because it moves you. It is really, really simple. And that's all that counts. So I've known people who have thought about this, and they didn't say it out loud, and I wanted to put it out there because I'm sure that there are more people that agree with this, that may have an even better take, a personal take on this subject. And if you have a video response, I'd like to see that, your views on the uselessness, the sheer slop of a term like guilty pleasure. I like all types of music, from obscure ambient noisecore to top 40 pop, to breakbeat electronica, to symphonic, gorgeously orchestrated concertos. We can have all this pantheon. and as is more relevant today than in any period before in human history. And this goes without saying, so hey, I'll say it anyway. The skill of a true musician is being able to combine, to synergize across styles, because that's how new styles are born, baby styles. And we have such a great lineage. There are so many disparate influences which can be weaved into a cohesive thread. And that's often the music I do like the most. One that takes influences you didn't expect them to come together in a single song to smash labels if they're used to constrict. Because as handy as labels are, I don't like them when they define things too narrowly. I use labels for accessibility, for easy organization, but by no means whatsoever do I use them to restrict my enjoyability of what the music actually is. A good way to think about it, it's like a badly drawn map that helps you get somewhere, okay? The map is not going to be necessarily representative of Maui or Cancun or another, say, tropical paradise, but it may help you get there. If someone sketches a map to get to a store a few blocks away, similar sort of thing on a smaller scale. So one more time, let's all chop the slop. That is guilty pleasure. You have absolutely nothing to be ashamed about. None whatsoever. If there's music that you enjoy it.